From the 22 News Plus studio, this is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of InFocus. I'm your host, Patrick Berry. We're here in the 22 News Plus studios. Are you an aspiring writer or a chef that wants to write the greatest cookbook ever? Well, I have a literary agent sitting across the desk from me today. Please welcome Sally Ekus. She is, as I mentioned, a senior literary agent with the Ekus Group. Sally, thank you for joining me.
I'm
Greatly
so happy
appreciate
to be
your time.
Here, Patrick.
I met Sally maybe a year ago, or
Maybe a little longer,
something like that. And I've been fascinated with what you do as a literary agent. It's kind of like those things who are like musician managers.
Yeah, yeah.
Because that's what you do. You manage authors.
Yes.
You specialize in cookbooks.
I do. So, yeah, I like to think of it. I kind of do a throwback to the Jerry Maguire movie, if you're familiar
Show
with
me the
that.
money.
Right. Often less money than like a major sports contract, but not always.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I'm working with creatives, primarily chefs and food writers, or people that want to write a nonfiction book. I've branched out a little bit.
Okay.
So someone's like, I've always had an idea to write a book, and they have a platform and a mission and something special to share. I help them figure out how to be mostly traditionally published. That's what a literary agent does. I work in traditional publishing, so not really self-publishing or hybrid, which we can get like super nerdy about publishing if you want to. But yeah, I help them create their ideas, package it in a book proposal, and shop it out around to publishers and negotiate book deals.
So you are based here in the Pioneer Valley.
Yes, in Western Mass.
Are all of your authors from this area? Or
I have a handful that are local, and I have many clients. Most of my client list is spread out over the whole country. Some are international, but I primarily work in the U.S. publishing market, so most of my clients are based here in the States.
So how do you find them, or how do they find you?
A bunch of different ways. So the Ekus Group, which is the name of the now boutique imprint that's part of another agency called JV&LA out of New York. The Ekus Group was originally started by my mom, Lisa, in Hatfield, which is local to here. And she carved out the niche of cookbook publicity first and then agenting. And so it wasn't supposed to be a family business. I had a very different sort of career trajectory. I was going to go to get a master's in social work and become a social worker. And
I'm willing to bet the social work and the literary agent thing kind of go hand in hand.
It applies. I was formally trained in negotiation, crisis counseling, and active listening, which all come in handy working with authors. And so I took a winding path and came back home for what I thought would be just like a stepping stone, figure out exactly what I wanted to do. I started helping her out at the agency, fell in love with it, and that's how I got into this.
But like any family business, you didn't start helping out as a 24-year-old.
No, I was like
you were like
2-year-old.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you've always been exposed
my
to it.
home videos consist of like sitting on a counter in our kitchen, which sets up to a studio kitchen where we did like media training for Ambril and Padma and like famous chefs. And it's like me as a toddler, like doing my own little pretend cooking show. So I've maybe been informally training for this job my entire life, this career.
And I have to imagine you like it.
Love it.
Really? Why do you love it? Is it one of those things?
I ask myself that every day, particularly over these past few weeks. I love finding talent or talent pitching me. We can talk about that process. And like seeing the whole vision in my head. Someone's a great writer or they have a compelling story, but I have the contacts and the mechanism for helping them package it in a way that lands on the shelf. And so I have a very unique skill set. It's very limited to mostly cookbooks and some other genres as well. And so, I feel so passionate about helping to tell those stories and bring that vision to life in the way that I can play a small role.
Do you feel that the old phrase, if you love what you do, you're never working?
Well, no, I don't. I'm definitely working.
Okay.
I work really, really hard, and I care very deeply about my clients and my colleagues. And so I definitely feel the effort of my career, and I love feeling the effort of it. I mean, I can't imagine it being any other way.
So is it a win when you have a client get published? Is
Oh,
that
definitely.
is that the win?
There's a couple wins. There's a couple
Okay.
wins. For the author, it's a win when they finish their proposal, pitch an agent, and land representation, which is very hard to do.
Really?
Like 1% hard to do. Very, very hard to land a
Wow.
literary agent. So it's a win for an author when they've put their idea together in a book proposal and then send a query to an agent. The agent even replies. That's a win. There's many wins for an author. For me, it's a win when we've finalized a proposal. I send it out to publishers and a bunch of people are really excited about it. They send offers and we negotiate the deal. And then also when that book comes out. And then also when readers find that book and they are reviewing it or getting excited about it or telling a friend, or just that momentum builds. I mean, those are the big wins off the top of my head.
And then I have to imagine the last big win is when that author actually makes money from
That would be nice.
work,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, because I have to imagine. I mean, I've never written a book, nor do I ever want to try, only because it seems
That's what they all say.
It seems extremely difficult.
It is extremely difficult. Yes.
It's not an easy process, and
No.
this could be years in the making.
It often is years in the making. Yes. It takes about 2 years. If you had a book idea, you had let's say you had a massive audience.
I'm going to make the greatest hot dog cookbook ever.
Okay, well, funny you should mention that topic. I'm out on submission with a hot dog proposal right now because hot dog,
all my
hot
ideas
dog
are taken.
is a real thing. This is what I'm saying. I work on some really fun projects. So let's say you had the best hot dog idea ever. I sent it to publishers today. We sold your book tomorrow. You'd have in nonfiction, you sell the idea off of a proposal. So you're proposing the idea, you're proposing the structure of the book, but you haven't written the manuscript. So it's very different than fiction.
Okay.
So then you have like a year, generally speaking, to write the book, develop the recipes, have them tested if we're talking about a cookbook, do the photography, send it to the publisher. Then you have about another year of production. It gets edited. Wow. You do the layout, the design, the printing. It gets shipped across the country. So it's about a 2-year process to traditionally publish a book if it was all sort of ready to go today.
Right.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
That's like a fast schedule. And most first-time authors are like, I want my book out tomorrow. They're so eager, of course, understandably so. And those 2 years pass in a blink of an eye.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. They're like, wait a minute, I have to send in my manuscript. That deadline's here. Yeah.
We are up on our first commercial break. We're talking about going from the idea of being an author to actually becoming an author. We'll be back in a moment.
This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry. This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry.
Welcome back, everyone, to this edition of InFocus. Sally Ekus is across the desk from me. We're talking about becoming an author. She is a literary agent based right here in the Pioneer Valley, and it's a much more complicated idea than people think.
Yes.
It's more than just, okay, I'm going to jot these notes down in a notebook. Maybe I'll
might start there, though.
Transcribe it to a computer.
Sure.
And I'll get myself published. It's not
quite that easy.
Not that easy at all. So, but just before we went to break, you said 2 years. And that's if you've got everything done as of today.
Right.
But it's got to take way more than that. It's an idea.
It depends on the author and the project. I have worked on, I have signed somebody and gone out with an idea or proposal quite quickly. Sometimes it's a matter of weeks, sometimes it's months, but oftentimes it's a pretty laborious process. And the more you can be prepared and think through the structure of your book, the audience, who the reader is, and how you're going to reach them, the more success that person will find.
So how do you help an author through the process?
Yes, many ways. Specifically with guidance on how the process works, down to like, here's the document we need, or here's some places that you should go pull this information that these editors are going to be asking about. So there's very specific things, but then there's also the emotional side of things where it's like taking someone's passion and creative story and then helping them find the balance between packaging it in a way that feels really true to themselves and also in a way that is going to feel sort of commercial enough for it to find readers that maybe don't already know them and aren't already fans or have buy-in.
I have to imagine there are times in your profession that you're a heartbreaker. I mean, you have to have pretty tough conversations with people who think that they've got the greatest hot dog recipe ever.
The majority of so I have my client list. Those are people I represent. And then there are people that are seeking agent representation. So they pitch me or they pitch my colleagues at the agency. And it's very hard to get through that process. Oftentimes, so I was mentored
you said
in a
earlier,
way.
1% of people
I think it's like 1 to 3% of people seeking an agent. And sometimes people are out on submission or queries to agents for years, 7 years, 8 years.
Oh my.
Yeah. More so I think in fiction, which I don't represent and I don't touch, but I was mentored and taught by Lisa in a way that, we've always had this hyper niche focus in culinary. And so my philosophy represents an evolution of her philosophy, which is that, if we're working in this industry, it's a small industry. And you continue to work in this space and I continue to work in this space, we will cross paths. So with that in mind, how can I not only pass on representation for your project, but pass in a way that gives you the resources and information and details to further refine what you're doing?
Like
so
a
if
mentor,
you continue to do it, you have the information to come back better prepared. So whenever I reject people, which is ultimately what the process is, I send as much information as I can as I have time and capacity to do that. I don't always have the same capacity. It also is what inspired me to start a newsletter all about book publishing, primarily cookbooks, but I try to write about the information and what happens behind the scenes to give people access to the resources and the tools they need to further refine as they continue to pitch, to not even necessarily like shorten the time that maybe they're going through this, because that time is so valuable, but fill that time and effort in really well-resourced ways.
So it's a holistic approach, really, to that budding author.
Yeah.
Writer.
That's my approach and philosophy. Many agents my colleagues who represent beyond, 1 or 2 categories, they may get 12,000 queries a year. So they may not even be able to respond to all of them.
Right. I mean, you would spend your entire day just responding to queries and never get any other work done.
Correct. Like for your actual clients.
Right.
Yeah. So there's a process.
So this is a weird question. How many clients do you work with? And is it, okay,
no, it's a good question.
I've written this book.
Yeah,
now you work with me till I drop dead in 50 years?
Depends on the client, but many of my clients are on their 2nd, 3rd, 10th book.
Okay.
And that's also part of it is, I'm not really looking to take on 10 new clients a year. Maybe I'll take on 3 or 4.
Wow.
And I have different levels of activity for my clients. So I have a very active roster of like, here are the projects I'm pitching right now. So then I have sort of a second tier of here's projects or clients that we're in development on or we're working on something, but the pace is a little bit a little bit different. And then I have all the projects that are currently under contract. So those authors are working on their book. I'm checking in with them. Maybe there's a photo shoot happening. There's a lot of activity around that. And then there are legacy clients that maybe we're not actively handling something new, but I'm overseeing the management of their royalty statements and the operational infrastructure that I have support on through the rest of the agency as well. And that's in the hundreds. So it's many layers.
So there are hundreds of clients you have
easily
that are maybe they're not actively doing anything,
but they could pop up at any time and I'm there and available for them.
Okay.
Yeah. And they do.
and
they do.
And they do.
Yeah.
So, this is such a
it's more like somewhere in the 15 to 70 range of
15 to 70.
Yeah. I'm picturing my client. I have a robust whiteboard system in addition to many other systems, but yeah, the whiteboard is what I live and breathe on.
So is Lisa still involved, or
she retired a few years ago?
Oh, good for her.
Yeah,
good for her. So now how many other agents
so when she retired, I merged our agency with an agency out of New York called JVNLA. And it is also a 2nd generation women-run family business that has other agents. And we've always had a long-standing sisterhood and like symmetry with this agency. And so when I was looking to evolve how the Ekus Group was going to be in its entity, I talked to Jennifer Welts, the owner of the agency, and we merged. And so the Ekus Group is now the boutique culinary and lifestyle like imprint of this other agency. So my colleagues really don't do much in the culinary space. I have one colleague, Ariana, who's taking on more cookbook projects, but I got to essentially do the same exact work on the food and lifestyle side.
If somebody wants to break into the world of being a literary agent, what should they do?
Great question. I would start with networking and reading resources through the AALA, which is the American Association of Literary Agents. There's a tremendous amount of info sharing, networking, like logistical things on how to start agencies, join agencies, become an agent. It's a commission-based relationship. So agents that are members of the AALA work on a 15% commission. So it's very hard to just start as an agent without any experience.
So do it as a side hustle first?
That's how many agents begin. Yeah, they might find a writer and slowly chip away at cultivating that relationship and landing them a deal. And that's usually one point of entry.
It sounds a lot like what you do is mostly, and I don't mean to minimize what you do, but it's like customer service.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot of customer
service. And your customer is the author.
Hospitality. Yeah. The author, yes. My clients are authors, yeah.
Fantastic. All right. Well, we're up on our second commercial break. We'll be right back after this.
This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry. This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry.
Welcome back, everyone, to this edition of In Focus. Today, we have Sally Ekus across the desk from me. She is a literary agent specializing in cookbooks, but branching out into other nonfiction items. You know, before we went to the break, I said your job sounds like it's customer service, but during the break, you said you're a talent agent.
Yeah,
which makes,
exactly. I represent talent for book projects, just the same way somebody might represent talent for
an actor, or singer, whatever it might be.
Yeah, so, I rep talent.
So I guess with that, and I don't know much about authors, but you hear the stories about actors, singers, and whatever. A lot of ego there.
Yeah, I mean, they are really great at having a passion or an expertise in words. Different levels of ego, depends. Not all my clients have the same level of ego or need.
So you mentioned earlier in the first part of this discussion, you have a handful of authors here in the Pioneer Valley, but you work across the country. So how? Yes. Well, technology's changed, so you're able to meet people via video now. But prior, how were you traveling a lot?
I was traveling a lot, and I mean, we do so much on video calls and on in meetings that way. Phone calls, now texting, but also just the social media world has changed things now at this point for many, many years, but finding people online, I mean, it's a variety of different things, or going out to eat somewhere and just being like, oh my God, this food is amazing.
Right.
But it doesn't always mean it's going to translate well to a book. So it's also having that eye for, is this book material, or is this dinner material, or both, or somewhere in between?
Well, and it's funny because I think of, you go out and you hear a local musician and well, they're good, but do they have what it takes to be great?
Right.
And that's sort of
that's what I'm always looking for.
And it sounds like you're always working. You're always looking.
Yes, because I love it. I mean, I'm still at the point in my career where I'm established enough to have clients working on their next thing, or current clients bringing in, a referral, my friend wants to write a book.
Right.
But then also I'm scouting. I'm all over the place scouting. And some of that is from the comfort of my home, and some of it is on the road. It's less so on the road now, but that's super fun.
Right there on the screen is a quote that you have said. It's make your project right, not rushed.
Yeah.
And that kind of comes back to our conversation earlier, where this could take years.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I often meet people and they say they want to write a book, and then they learn a little bit about the process, and eventually, if their book comes out, it might be 2, 3, 4, 5 years later. But they're really taking the time to conceptualize and put it together in a way that feels right, not rushed.
So you have to really have the patience and understand that. I can't quit my full-time, great paying job now because my book's coming out on Friday.
Yes, and also I wouldn't suggest quitting your job even if your book is coming out on Friday. Usually, books are not retirement plans, even the biggest deals.
Is that why John Grisham just keeps coming out with books?
I mean, I think he might be an outlier,
Stephen
but
King.
yeah,
Right.
yes, yeah.
So, I mean, you joked earlier you've had some pretty big name chefs at your home.
Yes,
in
yeah.
Hatfield.
I mean, I have pictures as a kid eating dinner with Julia Child. Yeah, I mean,
Really?
yes, I'm very, very lucky to have had these lived experiences as a kid. And now I bring, so as an agent, I feel like I bring the historical context of the industry, the publishing industry,
Okay.
over, the past 4 decades to modern day book representation because I'm working in
Is
publishing.
it different now than it
Oh,
was?
yes. Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
In what way?
There's more noise. It's more crowded. Many people could be published as an expert, even if maybe they're newer on the scene. There's
Do you
just
think like
a lot more
Food
competition.
Network has really, granted it's great.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love sitting there, binge watching some,
But now there's a lot of,
everybody thinks they can be a chef.
yeah, and there's also a lot of other ways to consume food media. Instagram, TikTok,
True.
the local farmers market. I mean, there's just so many more different forms of culinary media and entertainment that it's noisier. So it's a different way to promote and break out.
So we've only got about 2 minutes left in this, but from what I've learned from you so far, it sounds like you have a very stressful, busy life.
No comment.
So how do you relax?
I have a very full life, and I am blessed to have found improv comedy as my outlet, which
Really?
I do at Happier Valley Comedy locally. That's been my mental meditation. I do improv comedy. I'm in a main stage cast, and also I'm a main stage cast. And I'm a mom, and so my daughter keeps me focused on play and joy and groundedness at times. And it's a full life. I'm really lucky.
This also, it sounds like, aside from the improv and the mom thing, we know is 7 days a week, but being a literary agent is a 7-day a week job.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I mean, I have great communication and expectation setting with my clients. And also I love what I do. I'm highly available, and our agency was started as a PR firm. And so in PR, there's a lot of communicating with the media, and that happens very quickly. So I was trained by a publicist, which means my response time and my communication is fast.
Right.
And my heart and my day-to-day work is very committed to author representation.
But you've done very well with it.
Thank you. And I hope to do more.
Yeah.
More to come. Yeah.
If folks are interested, like you said earlier, the first thing, go online, do some research, figure out, Google, I want to write a book. What do I do next?
Right.
Or ask,
hopefully you'll find me if you search online.
Right.
I get more queries that ChatGPT recommended people pitch me than I ever have before. Yeah. Yeah. It's very common because I have a newsletter where I write about book publishing. Thank you for being a subscriber. It's called Not So Secret Agent. And so it's a place where people can learn. It's a very opaque business. And so I'm trying to pull back the curtain, and I'm like, here are the go-to resources to help save you time. Right. So if you are doing it right, not rushed, at least you don't have to waste a lot of time getting onto the right track.
If there are people out there that want to subscribe to the weekly or newsletter, how do they do it?
You just go online and search Not So Secret Agent and Sally Ekus. It's on Substack. You will find it.
Perfect. Sally, I can't thank you enough. What a wonderful conversation.
Great
to
Patrick.
Get a little insight into what it takes to be a literary.
I'm always happy to share a window into my world with you.
We'll do improv next.
Oh my gosh, please. I would love that.
This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry.